Welcome back. We are going to continue our focus on the art and creativity. I recently had the opportunity to speak with New York Times bestselling author Neal Shusterman. I know him from the Unwind series, and this is his new book. It is called Game Changers. It's a great book. Really enjoyed our conversation. Let's take a look.
Today we are joined by New York Times bestseller and National Book Award winner, Neal Shusterman. He's introducing his highly anticipated new novel, Game Changer. Neal, thanks so much for joining us today on Park City Television.
You're very welcome.
So tell me more about this novel. It's a high-concept novel in which a teenage football player finds himself in a series of parallel lives. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, well, it's about a high school football player whose tackles are so hard that they bounce him into alternate universes. And but really, it's a story about empathy. The main character, his name is Ash, and he's this fairly oblivious white heterosexual male. But in the course of the story, he's going to have all of his notions of the world and of himself challenged. He's going to have this crash course in racism, sexism, homophobia, and privilege through this series of world-changing events that are going to hit him harder than he hits on the field.
And what an interesting time to be releasing this book. I feel like this has happened to me over the past year, and I'm so much older than this main character, but teenagers are dealing with all of these really tough subjects right now. So I'm just curious, when did you start this book, and what made you decide to write this story right now?
Well, the idea has been with me for a long time. The idea of the football player who bounces into alternate universes, but it didn't connect with the reason to tell it. And then several years ago, I came up with the idea of it being sort of social changes that he goes through, and he has to learn all of these lessons of seeing the world through other people's eyes and seeing what the world would be like if because of his actions and because of his inaction. And so when I realized that was a direction to take it, I got very excited about it. It took me 4 years to write the book. And, the world has been changing so much over the past couple of years that I was constantly updating it and rewriting it and really doing a deep dive into social issues to make sure that it was timely. And I think the book couldn't have been released at a better time.
Oh, it really couldn't have. And how is this similar to some of your other books? I know myself and my kids read Unwind, which was an intriguing story. We all loved it. But how is this, similar to some of your other books, completely different? No, that's probably a bit of a hard answer.
Well, I try to never repeat myself, so I'm always trying to do something that's very different from what I've done before. But it's similar in that it poses hard questions and doesn't necessarily give answers. I think that the questions that are worth asking don't have easy answers. And so I try to figure out really interesting ways of posing questions and sort of trying to get people to look at all the situations that we face in the world from as many different perspectives and as many different points of view as we can, because the only way we're ever going to be able to solve the issues in our world is by having increased perspective. And so my stories are always about increasing our perspective.
Which is so incredibly important. So did you always want to be a writer? Did you grow up writing, or was this something that kind of came as a surprise to you?
I grew up wanting to do something creative. I love to write, but I also love to do art. I loved acting, music. But when I was in college, writing emerged as the thing that I was most passionate about. And I was very lucky to be able to sell my first book about a year after graduating from college, and it's been my career ever since. And I consider myself very lucky to be doing what I love as my career.
And you relate to teens and young adults so incredibly well. Why do you think that is?
Because I'm still a teenager inside myself. I think adults are all teenagers hiding it very well.
I think that's so very well said. Now, I don't know if you can answer this question, but is this going to be a series?
It is currently in development, and I'm very excited about that. And we'll see. It's in development with Netflix, and I'm working on this pilot script with Brian Yorkie, who is the creative powerhouse behind bringing 13 Reasons Why to Netflix and a whole lot of other things. So it's a fantastic process, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. That's really, congratulations. That's big news. And do you have any advice for writers out there, maybe people who have something in mind but have never really put pen to paper, anything that you would tell them?
Anyone interested in writing, the most important thing is to write. Not think about it, not talk about it, but actually do it. And then rewrite, because nothing's ever done the first time you write it. I mean, Game Changer has gone through so many different revisions and so much work. It's amazing how much work goes into the revision process. And also to read out of your comfort zone. Read things that you might not normally read. That's how you become a well-rounded reader and a well-rounded writer.
That is excellent advice. Thank you so much, Neal, for joining us today. The book is Game Changer. It's out now, and it's been wonderful talking with you. Thanks so much for taking time to be with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.